On December 5, 2013, the world lost one of its most prominent leaders, Nelson Mandela. While alive, Nelson Mandela fought to end issues of racial inequality, poverty, and injustice, ultimately ending apartheid in his home country of South Africa. After his death, he left a lasting legacy that still impacts the world today. Holisasha Mandela was born on July 18, 1918 in Vezo, South Africa. He was the third child in the family, but being the only son, he went on to be the first to attend school. While both his parents were illiterate, they valued education and sent Mandela off to a British Methodist school where he adopted the English surname Nelson. After his early education, Nelson continued his study at the University of Fort Hare, one of the best schools in the country. He studied to earn a bachelor's degree in art, but was expelled by participating in protests, and he only earned his degree after his imprisonment. During his time in Fort Hare, he became more interested in African history, and after his time at the university, Mandela got more involved in the fight for equal rights in South Africa. At the time, South Africa was under apartheid, which was a form of racial segregation that kept blacks out of the government and outlawed interracial marriages. Young Nelson wanted to end the apartheid and joined the African National Congress, also known as the ANC, to fight for the termination of the unjust law. Starting in 1949, Mandela led the ANC to use methods of boycott, strike, and civil disobedience, showing their anger towards the government. He led the group to fight for full citizenship, redistribution of land, trade union rights, and free and compulsory education for all children without segregation by race. As time progressed, Mandela began to believe that armed struggle was necessary to reach the goals and co-founded Umkhonto we Sizwe, more widely known as the MK, which was a political group that had similar goals to the ANC, but was dedicated to sabotage and guerrilla war tactics. The year after his second marriage, Nelson Mandela was arrested for leading the strike with the MK and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. In 1963, Mandela was brought to trial with 10 other ANC leaders who were all sentenced to life imprisonment for political offenses, including sabotage and illegal protests. Mandela spent much of his imprisonment in Robben Island, a maximum security prison in South Africa, where he wrote and planned how to end the apartheid. He spent 27 years in total in various prisons. When Frederick William de Klerk became president, he released Mandela on February 11, 1990. De Klerk also unbanned the ANC, removed restrictions on political groups, and suspended executions. A year after his release, Mandela was elected to be president of the ANC and continued to negotiate with President de Klerk to have South Africa's first multiracial president elections, ultimately ending the apartheid. In 1993, Mandela and President de Klerk together received the Nobel Peace Prize for their work towards ending apartheid. Due to their work, their goals that Mandela had fought for over 50 years were finally achieved. On April 27, 1994, South Africa held its very first multiracial democratic election. At age 77, Nelson Mandela was voted in and inaugurated as the first black president of South Africa on May 10, 1994. During his presidency, he continued to strive for racial equality by appointing black government workers, criticizing the biased media, and giving lands that were taken away due to the apartheid back to their rightful owners. By the 1999 general election, Nelson Mandela had stepped down from active politics, but he continued to help the country by raising money to build schools and clinics throughout South Africa through the Nelson Mandela Foundation. He also actively worked towards world peace during events such as the opening ceremony of the 2010 World Cup, which took place in South Africa, or during Burundi's civil war, when he acted as a mediator. A leader is defined as a person or persons who command or lead any group, organization, or country. Qualities of an effective leader include good communication skills, honesty, confidence, and intelligence. Mandela had all of those attributes. He He viewed and treated whites and blacks as equal, which he believed was necessary in order for freedom. He put aside personal beliefs for what he believed was logical. He was a socialist, but based on how well socialism has fared in the past for other countries, he didn't let his natural predisposition to socialism interfere with his presidency. All of these things were crucial in leaving Nelson Mandela's lasting legacy on our planet. Mandela left a legacy of equality and freedom for all races and religion. He saw blacks and whites as equal in a time period where no one else did. Without Mandela, the world would be a more segregated place, and South Africa would be formatted completely differently. In 2013, Mandela died in his home in Johannesburg. Although his life ended, his changes on the earth and his legacy are still here today.